So welcome back to Barbados. The ground staff out there just putting the finishing touches to putting the pitch to bed for the night. They've got the big white cover on and so on, some puffy clouds there, fringed in sort of sunset orangey glow too, blowing over the ground. It's a lovely scene. Interesting day's cricket. I'm not sure England will reflect on it too happily. West Indies finishing on 288 for 4, so England took only 3 wickets today on this wearing pitch. It does mean, though, that West Indies are still 223 runs behind. They've got a lot of work to do, and they do have to bat last on this pitch, so you'd think that England still will fancy themselves strongly to win this game. But they took 2 early wickets, England, and then not much else. Brooks, in the 8th over of the morning, was caught at point by Wokes off a short ball from Leach. He carved it at him. Wokes took a good catch. Brooks out for 39. That was 83 for 2. Shortly after, Bonner was LBW to Stokes on the back foot for 901 for 3. But then after that, that was about it, with this terrific stand between Brathwaite and Blackwood worth 183. Blackwood should have been given out LBW on naught. It was given not out. England decided not to review it, or at least Stokes really decided not to review it. He was adamant that the ball would have missed leg stump. In fact, it would have clattered quite healthily into it. And he was also bowled on 65 by Saqib, which turned out to be a no ball. But he did make 102, and that partnership of 183 dominated the day. Brathwaite finishing on 109 from 307. 109 not out from 337 balls. He'll be back tomorrow. Blackwood eventually was LBW playing no stroke to Lawrence for 102. So lots of things to consider. Wickets wise, Leach 1 for 97 from 44 overs, and 1 wicket apiece for Matt Fisher, Ben Stokes and Dan Lawrence. A long day out in the field. Dean Wilson is here as promised. Well, how do we assess that, Dean?
Well, I think it was a pretty tough day for England, truth be told. We know that the pitch is certainly kind for batting, so it's always going to be a hard day's work, a hard day's graft for the bowlers. But I think they'd have expected a little more than what they ended up with. Even if the review that Ben Stokes kind of turned down and had gone with, that might have been another wicket, and of course Blackwood, the same man, might have fallen to Mahmood, but still. That's still sort of scant returns for a day's effort. And I do think that this has been a long kind of trend for England, and this is the thing that they're trying to get over, on flat pitches, away from home, with a non-first grade Duke's ball. How do you take 10 and then 20 wickets? And that is a sort of perennial problem. And it's still the puzzle that they're yet to solve. So, just a hard day in the field.
Yeah, that review was a funny one because Stokes was adamant, wasn't he? I mean, he literally sort of waved as soon as the ball thumped into the batsman's paddock. He appealed, but when Root and Folks were having a look, and Stokes was just gesturing, look, it's going down the leg side, it's going down the leg side. He was absolutely convinced it was.
Yeah, he was, and I think the funniest thing about that is, I think any decision that gets made out there at the moment, you just need to take a moment to really think about it, because I'm not sure that I'd be trusting every umpiring decision at the moment.
It's a bit of a lottery out there.
It is a bit of a lottery. Yeah. And look, what I will say is that it did move. It did nip back quite considerably at Blackwood, and perhaps Stokes just thought it had done too much. But maybe it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because they did get what I would say was a lucky decision against Nkrumah Bonner that Stokes was very happy about when they appealed and was given LBW, went upstairs for review, and to my eyes it looked like it was a very clear inside edge onto the pad, but to the TV umpire's eyes it was not. So England got one there, so maybe they evened each other out. I
thought Stokes' frustrations showed, and perhaps it was England's showed, of course, when he had that bit of altercation with Blackwood. The umpires were involved. I think Joel Wilson made a bit of a meal of it, frankly, diving in there and got the captain over, and he kept going on about it. I mean, they'd had their moment. I don't think it was too serious. Blackwood certainly didn't suggest it was too serious, but the fact that Stokes actually did seem to get into this verbal joust with him suggested that he was a bit frustrated by the whole thing.
Definitely, and I think that's no bad sign, actually. I think it really does show how much effort and kind of how much it means, to try and take these wickets and to get on top. And fair play. It's a good sign for Blackwood as well, because it shows that you're thwarting and frustrating and kind of getting under the skin.
Oh, you love it as a batsman.
Absolutely love it. So it works for me on kind of both levels. Obviously, you don't want it to go too far, but it didn't. Of course, it didn't. A bit of chat between the teams is great, and of course that there's always a little bit of spice between England and the West Indies. We were talking a little bit before the game about maybe bowling too long and not shaking hands before the end of play, and things like that. There's always just a little something, little frisson in the air, and these two teams going at it hammer and tongs. That's great. As you rightly say, the umpire probably got a little bit more flustered than he needed to. But look, both certainly Jermaine Blackwood afterwards was saying that, and no problem at all. He quite enjoyed it, and it quite validated the contest that he was in. So we'll hear from him in a second. Now, my notes this morning, Dean. First report that I did: big day for Jack Leach. Now, I don't know how we assess it quite after that. 44 overs, 13 maidens, 1 for 97. He got the early wicket that you need when you're in that position, be it a spin bowler, seam bowler, whatever it may be. You are in conditions in which you're expected to take wickets. There is a pressure on you, but if you get an early one, that gets you off to start. And I mean, the wicket that he got was a poor delivery. It was a long hop really outside the off stump that was carved away to backward points. It wasn't one that you would want to get with that lovely spin and bounce and so on, but the ball was turning. The ball did bounce. Now, okay, I'll go first. I thought he had a poor day. I thought he was inconsistent. His lengths are inconsistent. He either bowls very full, almost half volley length, or too short. And I was interested in that half of Blackwood's runs came on the leg side. And I was just that a lot of that was just turning Leach away into the leg side. Root had a short leg for him and a leg slip, and just one offside slip fields when two potential chances went to the gully. So maybe they're trying to make him for some reason bowl on that leg stump, which wouldn't seem right to me. But I don't think he had a great day, and he's still got potential to rescue it, of course, in the fourth innings. But I just think on the third day of a Test match as a spin bowler, you've got a pitch like this, which is, I think, almost unique for Barbados. I think you'd have wanted more than 1 for 100. I've got to get off the fence here, haven't I? Yes. I don't think he had a great day either. I don't really just want to agree with you though, but there were one or two moments where the ball came off the inside edge, and he had a short leg and a sort of a leg slip, and the ball kind of squirted in between them a couple of times at a catchable height. He beat the outside edge on a few occasions,
quite a number of occasions.
And those are the sorts of things you want to see. Then, in addition to the rewards with a wicket or two, he didn't get those rewards. Now, is that his lack of quality or just not his day? I want to be generous and say
yes.
It wasn't necessarily his day. I also think he'd bowled a lot of overs in the first Test in Antigua, and so in terms of his action and what he's getting on the ball and all those things, the rhythm, as you well know, I guess, that goes into it, maybe not quite there. But I also think that on a pitch like that, which was offering turn, and he did get a chance with the newer ball as well when towards the start of the day. The pitch was maybe a little bit tackier due to a bit of rain. I think you're right. He'd be disappointed not to have more wickets, but I sort of come back to where he's at as a cricketer. It's an ongoing process. He was absolutely nowhere in Australia. He does look like a different bowler here because he's getting through as many overs, and maybe he will get those rewards. The interesting thing for me now, though, is having played these two Test matches on these two types of surfaces. I'm already kind of jumping ahead to Grenada, and I'm already thinking, I would like to see Matt Parkinson on a pitch like this, kind of ripping it out of the rough with his leg spin. So, I think Jack needs to get some rewards before the end of the game.
Well, I think so, but I mean, he could well do. I mean, he's going to be bowling at the West Indies. if the way it should pan out from England's perspective, with the West Indies having to hang on to try and save the game, and he's going to have this pitch worn even more. I mean, he's taken 40 wickets in the last 12 months or so, which is a pretty good haul given the few Test matches that he's played. Of course, there's a caveat that he took, I think, 26 of those in Sri Lanka and India, so on those pitches there that were really pretty rough. But in Australia, he lost his confidence, and I think we do accept he's coming back from that. But it would do Jack Leach a power of good, I think, if he could spin England to victory in this Test match.
That would be enormous. Yeah. Of course it would. That would be fantastic. I mean, we saw Roston Chase spin the West Indies to victory here.
No, he didn't spin it.
So very good. Yes, we saw the spinner,
an alleged off
the spinner bowl and take some wickets the last time. So yes. It'd be wonderful to see Jack have that kind of day. But what one of the interesting, talking to some of the local journalists in the press box here, which is, still a wonderful experience to hear their take on things. And when Jack was bowling over the wicket into the rough with it was a fly leg slip, it was a short fine leg, being padded away on, that was not good.
It wasn't.
That was not good. I'm sorry. No. Less of that. Try and attack as much.
I'll be honest, I thought Dan Lawrence looked just as. I mean, he loops it up more. I know he's got a very strange action. Goodness knows who he tried to copy as a kid, but he's got a strange action. But he does get some loop on it, and he was dropping it on I thought, a really decent length. There was no surprise really he got a wicket.
Yeah, he was, and that giant hop that he's got with the arms whirling. It's a sight to behold, but proving to be quite effective, and again, at the end of a long day, the bowlers have been toiling away and marching back to their mark, and Dan Lawrence pops up at the end and says, "Thank you very much. This is how you do it, boys."
How about the two youngsters? Let's finish with a conversation about those. Messrs Fisher and Mahmood, two very different sorts of bowlers. Fisher, of course, picked up that early wicket yesterday to get him off and running. Sakib hasn't got a wicket yet, but he's bowled pretty tidily, 15 overs for 35. Early days, and a bit of indifferent bounce up there, but not a lot of pace in this pitch for them. How do you think they've got on?
I think they've acquitted themselves pretty well. They're on debut. I've mentioned that it's been a long-running trend for England trying to take wickets on these kind of surfaces away from home, and I do think that Sakib Mahmood offers something different. I thought that there was a moment where they got the ball reversing, and obviously there's a lot of talk about his reverse swing skills that he's got, and I did think that he was starting to shape the ball quite nicely. I did feel that he tended not to pitch it up quite enough on this surface. Not as many balls hitting the stumps as perhaps you'd want. But then when he did, obviously, he got that ball, he yorked Blackwood, and that should have been a terrific moment. That should have been him up and running, and a real exhibition of the kind of skills that he's got. And of course, it was a no ball, and it's a curious thing because he's sort of the fifth England bowler recently to have their first Test wicket chalked off for a no ball. It didn't harm Ben Stokes or Mark Wood too much. They've kind of continued to be rather successful, so hopefully he can follow their footsteps and get that wicket soon.
It was his fifth, so it's perhaps something he needs to look at. Actually, those no balls, they come and go. They come and go with rhythm, and especially in your first Test, you can stretch a bit and be a bit overexcited. But yeah, that was disappointment. Okay, so you mentioned Ben Stokes and Mark Wood. Who are the other ones then?
Mason Crane, remember him?
Yes,
he had his first wicket, a leg spin bowler, called for a no ball in Sydney. That was something. And then Tom Curran as well, also in Australia, lost his first wicket with a no ball. So it is a trait.
It's wretched.
It's a wretched trait. But
imagine if I mind. I mean, it was only Viv Richards, but imagine that had been a no ball.
Well, we'd certainly be chuckling about it today. I guess
Devastating. So where from here then, Dean? I mean, that 223. With 6 wickets left, the night watchman in there, they'll hopefully get rid of. He looks quite an interesting night watchman, Joseph. He was a bit of a shot-playing night watchman, even when he wasn't supposed to be this evening.
He was shaping to play some shots.
I think he'll be fun. Yeah, he would be fun in the morning. But I mean, 223 is still a lot of runs. I mean, they haven't avoided the follow-on, for goodness' sake, and not that England would enforce it, but a good morning for England tomorrow. 3-4 wickets, get into that lengthy tail, and they're back in proper control again.
Yeah, look, there's still plenty of time. 2 days left in the game. You know, it doesn't look like the pitch is going to deteriorate significantly over the next couple of days, but perhaps a little bit more indifferent bounce, as we've seen today. And then you never know, because you know pressure does funny things, and you know the West Indies are going to be mindful of that, and England are the only team really that can win it. So we'll see how they go, and maybe just a chance for a dart and a rush at the end. But I mean, it's a draw, really. I'm trying to talk it up, but it's a draw.
I'm fancying England a little bit more than that. We shall see. We'll find out tomorrow. Let's get some reaction then from both camps. First of all, England and the spin bowling coach, Jeetan Patel. Well, Jeetan, how do you assess that?
Long, hard day of Test cricket. Another one, actually. You know, 8 days of it so far into the series, and we're putting in a lot of hard work. And look, today wasn't our day, but I think we did a lot of good things today, and we created a lot of opportunities. A little bit unlucky at times, and you know, some mistakes we just make, people make. And well, I still feel we're well in this game, and there's still 2 big days of cricket left.
Well, of turn. I mean, it's only the 3rd day of a Test match. Some indifferent bounce for the seamers. Would you have wanted more wickets than that?
Oh, of course. I mean, like the wickets column is what you want. At the start of the day, we would have liked more wickets in the end column and looked to push this game on. But we've got 5 days for a reason, and they're allowed to play well. I mean, we spoke about it earlier. I think Craig and Jermaine batted fantastically well throughout the day. We put pressure on them. We created opportunities, as I've said before. They didn't go our way, but hopefully we'll come back tomorrow with the same attitude that we've shown over 8 days, and we get the results we want.
2 frustrating moments as well as that non-reviewed LBW and the bowl off a no ball again.
Yeah, look, frustrating stuff. Frustrating for all. And like I said, they're probably the mistakes that we made today. Made 2 mistakes in a day. Does it mean you've had a bad day? I don't know. I'm not convinced. Like we still created more opportunities than that, and they were half opportunities. And the other 2, well, the opposition had the opportunity to bat all day, and they didn't.
Yeah. Does it feel though, with all those runs still in the bank, 2 days to go, and the pitch wearing as it is, that you're in a very good position?
Oh, look, 100%. I think once you get 520 on the board, you sort of feel like, well, the expectation is you're going to rock up and roll them the next day. That's not how it works, especially in these parts of the world where it's a slow burner, really. You know, we're still happy to win on the afternoon of day 5, and that's the most important part.
Yeah. And so I thought about the 2 youngsters playing in their debut here. How do you think they've gone?
Oh, fantastically well. Saki bowled amazingly well. I think he got it to reverse nicely. He asked some really tough questions, and Fish has impressed us all. I think right from when he arrived on this series, but even before that, when he was in Australia, he bowled very well there. He's proven his worth, and he's getting the ball to do stuff. So, well, we've got 2 really young guys that we're hoping we see more of.
And a word about Mark Wood. Disappointing. I mean, he was one actually who came away from the Ashes with his reputation enhanced, no injuries. But how do you assess this one?
Oh, look, it's hard for Woody. He gives so much to this group. We all saw during the Ashes how well he ran in, and for long periods, all through 5 games, he gave so much to the team. And to get to halfway through the first Test match, and I think that's what hurts him the most, is having to stop in the middle of a Test match and not be able to do what he loves doing, and that's performing for England.
And I guess you miss him. I mean, on pitches like this, on even bounce.
Every team misses a Mark Wood. You know what he can do at high pace for long periods of time. You just miss him. You know, he brings so much energy to this group, and people that don't know him wouldn't know that. But he's such an amazing character for us. He leads the way in lots of manners, but also with the ball as well.
Well, that was Jeetan Patel talking to me after today's play, and I also caught up with Jermaine Blackwood. Well, Jermaine, how well played. I've been very pleased with yourself today.
Yes, for sure. I'm very pleased with this knock. Coming into this game, I was feeling a little bit pressured. It must have that I have to go out there and score some runs, and I had the support from my teammates, my coach, and the captain of full faith in me that I can go out there and do the job.
Yeah. It seemed quite difficult, especially to start with. There's some spin and uneven bounce.
Yeah, for sure. Jack Leach was very good, and Ben Stokes was testing my patience when I just get in. But I told myself, once I can get past that, I wasn't watching the scoreboard too much, but I just told myself once I can get past Ben Stokes and Jack Leach earlier, I know I can carry on and score a big one.
Yeah. How lucky do you think you were on naught on the LBW? Do you think you were fortunate with that one?
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I thought it was going down, but that's how it goes. Cricket sometimes they get some chances, but you just have to run with it as long as possible.
Yeah. It seemed like Ben Stokes got a bit frustrated at one stage. What was he saying to you there?
Nothing much. That was related to the banter. That is good for the cricket. I think that helped me to feel motivated, to be honest, batting. So that was a little bit of banter. That was fun. It was really fun.
Yeah. And these things happen sometimes on the field of play, yeah?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Well, to be honest, I really don't mind it. I really like it as well. So once a player can always come up in my face and talk stuff, I really don't mind that, to be honest.
I think you still have some work to do, West Indies. It's that pitch is going to wear some more.
Yeah, for sure. We have to. First thing, we have to bat the first over very good tomorrow, and then look to bat as long as possible tomorrow, because the pitch is not that easy wicket pitch to go and to start on. So you have to work your way in, and once you get yourself in, you can score.
Now, Matt Fisher has made his Test debut here in Barbados. It's a venue that holds a very special place in the heart of the Fisher family and their late father, Phil, as Tim Peach has been finding out.
It's been quite a debut for Matt Fisher, who didn't realise that he was actually going to be playing until the morning of the match. I'm here with his brother Mark and his girlfriend Tasha. Tasha, first of all, can you just describe how Matt first became aware that you might be playing?
Yeah, it was a bit of an emotional roller coaster, really. So the night before, he'd kind of caught wind that Craig maybe wasn't feeling too good, and then early, so we kind of got our hopes up. Everyone's running around. No one really got much sleep, just in case. And then in the morning, we kind of got a text to say he's prepping. I don't think I'm playing, so we were on the bus. Like, oh, okay, never mind, And then we were literally in the queue to come into the ground, and he sent a text, I'm playing, thumbs up, that's all we got. And it was like, go, 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 get into the ground as quickly as we can. And I think everyone was just, it took a while to sink in, I think, because we like needed to get in the ground. We wanted to see his cat presentation and everything. And then after we'd sat for a bit, we were like, oh my gosh, it's happening, it's actually happening. And you said the night before, didn't you, it's written in the stars, and that's what your tweet said as well, Mark. And I think it definitely was.
Yeah, unbelievable that he got the chance to make his debut here in Barbados, given that it was my dad's favourite place, and brought us here when we were very young and had some great experiences with our local cricket club, Sheriford Bridge. So, chuffed to bits for my mum and for Matthew that it's here in this venue. It's unbelievable.
So you managed to get round to be quite close to watch his cat presentation from Joe Root. It must have been an amazing moment for you as a family.
Yeah, I mean, we're all in the Garfield Sobers Pavilion up there. We managed to get a really good view from a distance of it.
Since being a young kid at Yorkshire, every time you come into any team I've been involved in or aware of, and then every time you've worn an England shirt, you've been very impressive, from under 19s through the Lions, and since you've been around this group as well. Not just with your skill level, but your personality as well. Everything that you've achieved till now, you've obviously had some ups and downs throughout your career, but it's made you the player that you are. And I just really hope today, more than anything, you go out and express yourself, you enjoy yourself. You're a mature lad beyond your years, and that'll hold you in really good stead whilst you wear this cap. I know how proud you are, I know how proud your family are, those that are with us and those that aren't. And I know that today's a very special day for everyone involved, for you. So many congratulations, mate. Wear this with pride and play extremely well.
For Joe Root to give him his cap, I mean, who better than one of England's best ever players? So I know it meant a lot to Matthew, and meant a lot to us as well to see that.
You mentioned your dad, Phil, who passed away when Matt was 14. But you said on Twitter yesterday, as you just mentioned there, what a place this was and meant to him and to you as a family.
Yeah, and he just loved the atmosphere of the place and the local people and how friendly they all are, and it's just paradise, isn't it? And I think that's how he saw it. And to bring my older brother Adam, he played out here initially on those tours, and it just whet all of our appetites to play cricket, grew that passion within us. And Matthew was in his element, and just telling him to run round the ground, because got to use a bit of energy up, Matthew, because you do my head in, sort of thing. So yeah, Matthew he loved that tour, and that really inspired him, I think.
For you, for your family, and for your mum in particular, who I know is quite shy and doesn't necessarily want to do any interviews, but it must be quite a moment to be here back in Barbados and to see Matt making his Test debut.
Yeah, she's really committed to following him. She's committed to all the 3 tests without knowing that he was going to be playing, and we all had a bit of an emotional moment just thinking about Dad, and we hope that he sort of ran it through in his head in those moments when it wasn't looking great. So yeah, we get to live this experience and he doesn't, and but he'd be really proud of what's happened, and he did the hard yards and helped put Matthew in a position where he could learn for himself and things like that. So yeah, unbelievable.
And I noticed he pointed to the sky as he got his wicket, and then he managed to run down towards you in the stand here to celebrate as well.
Yeah, I know that when he's he'd said in an article that when he's playing cricket, that's when he feels closest to Dad. And I know his celebration a lot is pointing to the sky, and it's great that Ben Stokes got the opportunity to score 100, his first since his dad as well. So for those guys, probably don't know each other that well at the moment, but for them to share that day was lovely. And Matthew would be here in the in the stands as well if he could be with pre-season. He just loves the Barmy Army, and he's been on like tours before where we've been in the crowd, and so he's always going to engage with them and just really love their support. I saw him singing some of the songs, which hopefully is concentrating as well at the same time.
Now, can you clear something up for us? Age 14, apparently, did you and some of your family put a bet on that he would play for England?
Yeah, it's more my older brother Adam. I think they tried to keep it fairly quiet because they don't want to put any unnecessary pressure on Matthew. But I think we'd all put about 20 quid in at 50 to 1. So looking for that to get paid out so it can pay for a bit towards my trip. Yeah, we put it on. Yeah, when he was 14. I think he'd made his Yorkshire Academy debut at that point. So he's already quite well advanced, and we just saw that he had potential, and with his mindset and everything, just we'd never seen it before, but we thought he had the stuff that might translate into this moment. So yeah.
And how much do you stand to win?
Yeah, I stand to win 1,000. I think my older brother stands to win £1,600 or something, so he's going to be raking it in.
Excellent. Now, Tasha, how would you describe Matt as a person?
He's probably the most incredible person I've ever met. He's so grounded. He'll absolutely help anyone. He's completely selfless, a real team player, and I think I've never heard anyone say a bad word about him. Well, hopefully they wouldn't say that to me anyway, but I think everything that you read about him is true. He comes home from training and you can really tell that he's put 110% in. There's never a day where he thinks, I'm going to, give it 0.5% less, and that's just him in every aspect of life, not just his training. He's just an incredible person.
You've been with him for 5 years, and in that time he's had to deal with a lot of injuries and setbacks, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's difficult, just as things start to go well, sometimes it can be hard. You get a call from the ground where he's playing and he's got injured, or and it does have a knock-on effect obviously in selection after that, and we have to deal with that, and that's where I think it's important to have a really good family and a good kind of team set up. So yeah, I think he's got so much support around him, with our family and the local club as well get really behind him, and I think that makes an absolute world of difference. It's difficult, but I think now seeing him out there, it's all worth it. There's a lot of pressure, and it feels like we can almost take a sigh of relief at this point. He's done brilliant, and we're absolutely elated.
And just finally, just talk us through that moment yesterday. He comes on to bowl, the first ball gets hit for 4. You must have been a bit nervous. Then talk us through that second ball.
Yeah, just firstly, when I was really nervous the night before that he was going to bowl, and then I actually saw a video on Twitter of a behind the net shot, and I haven't actually seen him bowl for a while because he's been to Australia with the Lions and things, and the way he was charging in, and you can see that he's improved in the 6 months that he's had around the team. I think that's the big thing with his injuries, it's just stopped him, he does learn quite quickly, so that's been the frustration, that once he gets fit then he can go on. But yeah, once I saw that video the night before, I just thought he's going to do well. I just thought everything looked in a good place, and he got driven for 4 in the first ball, but he was trying to pitch the ball up, and on a wicket like this you got to be brave, like he's been saying. So yeah, that second ball was amazing, and just seeing everyone go off was it's absolutely brilliant.